Are the police allowed to lie to you during an interrogation? In this video, I will answer this commonly asked question.
Christian attorney Ariel Johnson, lawfullife.us. If you're new to this channel, my aim is to make the law accessible to real people. So if you like the content, please be sure to subscribe and to click the notification bell so that you will not miss any new content. Are the police allowed to lie? The answer to the question is, it depends on the circumstances taken as a whole. Now, of course, the only time that this matters to a defendant in a criminal matter is if he or she makes a fatal admission or confesses to a crime as a direct result of police deception. Now, the notion that confessions must be given voluntarily seems to be straightforward, but this comes into question and becomes complicated when one considers certain police behaviors. So while law enforcement can't use physical force to obtain a confession, they may use a range of psychological ploys to obtain a confession from a criminal suspect. This includes the use of deception during an interrogation. Now, here's some examples of court-approved deceptive tactics. These deceptive tactics include, for example, falsely claiming that a suspect's cousin confessed when in fact the cousin had not confessed. Then there's also falsely claiming to have a suspect's fingerprints at a crime scene when in fact there were none. There's also falsely stating that incriminating DNA evidence or satellite photography of a crime scene exists when it in fact does not. These are examples of tactics that have been approved by the court as being appropriate psychological ploys to obtain a confession. However, the use of deceptive tactics during an interrogation is not without limits, in that the courts tend to look at the totality of the circumstances surrounding the interrogation. For instance, courts have thrown out confessions where the police misrepresented defendant's legal rights. For example, telling a suspect that his or her incriminating statements will not be used against him for the purposes of charging. Or where the police conduct a lengthy interrogation during which A, they have repeatedly offered false assurances that they believe a victim's injuries were accidental and that the defendant would not then be arrested. B, they threaten to arrest the defendant or the defendant's spouse. And C, where they falsely told the defendant that the victim was actually alive and that the defendant should disclose what he did in order to save the victim's life. Thank you for watching. If you find this content useful, please let me know what you think in the comment section, and let me know if you have questions or suggestions for future videos. Also, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you won't miss any upcoming content. By the way, if you're looking for legal content that's accessible to real people, be sure to join us online at lawfullife.us, where we profess the truth that without God we can do nothing.